Hi there and welcome back to Cooking with Fleur. This is a little bit of a follow-up on how to plan a dinner party. We had a bit of a chat about what you do when you plan a dinner party and how many days ahead of time you need to start. I had a whole lot of suggestion of dishes. I have thus far made a dessert, and none of these videos are all going to be lining up, but that's no matter. This is about how to plan the dinner party, so I've given you that information. Please refer back to that particular video. And today we are going to put it together. So I'm going to show you how to set up the table for the various dishes that we are going to be serving on the evening. I'm going to show you which welcome drinks to prepare, and I'm going to do the main course. Saying it like that, meaning last night I've already prepared my dessert, it's ready. My starters have been prepared ahead of time, as in soups and terrines, pâtés, whatever you like. It has been prepared last night. Some of the things this morning, and now we are in the afternoon and we are now going to prepare what is going to be served for dinner this evening, the remaining dishes. So tonight I will be showing you how to make a millefeuille of beef fillet with crisp potato, some lovely seasonal vegetables and a wild mushroom cream sauce, and that's what I'm going to be cooking tonight. And with that, like I said, I'm going to show you the welcoming drinks and how to set your table. Okay, so remember that video that I showed you before? There is the little icon. Please watch that so you get the full idea of how to plan this dinner party, and that is what we're going to do. So let's get cooking. So I've got some beautiful potatoes here. Again, we have a dinner party for 3. This is a little bit too much potato, but what we're going to do with these, we're going to slice them fairly thickly. Then I'm going to use this beautiful little cutter. You don't have to, but I just happen to have this, and it's just going to make it really, really pretty when I cut discs with this little cutter. And then I'm going to blanch the potato and thereafter deep fry them to make them into nice, crispy, thick potato slices. So that's the first part of our dinner making episode. Okay, so my slices that I'm going to make here have got to be about, I'd say almost a centimeter thick. Maybe just less, about 8 mils, but I mean there's no preciseness here. I don't want the edge bits. And then if you see here, this should round about just make it. And what we're going to do is we're going to just cut that out. Discard the remaining potato that's around there, and that's that, so that's one. Okay, so what you want here is you want quite large potatoes. This last little bit is not going to fit. You see, the slice of potato is too small for the cutter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut around the one edge like so, turn it around, cut around the other edge like so, and now I have a small little potato. So the leftover potato I've got over here, I'm going to cover it with cold water, leave it in my fridge, and tomorrow I can make some mashed potato out of it, or crispy fried potato chips if I cut the smaller chunks a little bit smaller, or the bigger chunks a little bit smaller. And there you go. So here we have all of our beautiful little potatoes, slices. They're about that thick, yeah, close to a centimeter thick. And I'm going to quickly just cook them up. I don't want them fully cooked. I literally want to cook them for maybe 5 minutes. Okay, so I've got some beautiful wild mushrooms here, or mixed mushrooms rather. These are little white button mushrooms, lovely, good for any occasion. Then over here I've got this stunning king oyster mushroom. Then I've got some shiitake here, and some beautiful brown and white shimeji mushrooms. You could use any mushrooms really you want. You can use your portabella mushroom, you can use your oyster mushrooms, and so on and so forth, but this is the selection I've got now. So for our mushroom sauce, we're going to start off by very finely chopping a small white or red little onion. Okay, so what we got here is some maybe a small clove of garlic, a quarter of a finely diced red onion. I'm just going to deal with these mushrooms now and take the roots off. And they are beautiful, absolutely stunning. And these shimeji mushrooms. And we're going to start off by sauteing gently. Okay, so basically what I've done here, I want different textures. Well, mushrooms do have slightly different textures, but they will end up being a similar texture. So this is why I've made different chunks, different sizes. The shimeji being the smallest, obviously. Our shiitake I've sliced like that, looks absolutely stunning. Our king oyster mushroom I've just put into fairly thick julienne strips, just to retain that texture, don't want to make them too thin. And I've pretty much quartered our little button mushrooms over here. So the way I'm going to put them in the little saucepan now, after I start sauteing the onion and the garlic, is according to their sizes. So these will come last. I mean, that should make a lot of sense. So that they, in the end, all cook evenly and at the same time. So off we go. A little frying pan over here. In goes a little bit of olive oil. Just a small drizzle, not too much. Small block, 2 small blocks of butter. There you are, just like that. On the stove, together with the onion and the garlic. Now we don't want to saute this too long because we don't want the garlic to burn. And then as soon as that is just sauteing a little bit, I'm going to start off with these 3 mushrooms, add them to that little saucepan, get them a little bit nicely sauteed, then I'll add those and I'll add a whole lot of cream and some herbs and spices and then let it reduce to make the most gorgeous mushroom sauce. This has been sauteing literally just for 30-40 seconds. Time to add our nice big chunky mushrooms. Another 20-30 seconds or so. Give it a little bit of a stir. At this point I can see that the mushrooms are quite dry, so I want to add a little bit more butter. The thing with mushrooms is they soak up liquid very, very easily. I don't want to add salt at this particular point in time because they will just release all their water and they'll go soggy, which I don't want. So I want them slightly browned. Okay, so these have had about a minute. I'm going to add the shimeji mushrooms. Give them another good stir. This is still going on a high heat. I just want to get them all nicely coated in that olive oil and that beautiful butter. And you see how they're nicely just browning. Don't walk away here because we do not want them to blacken. We just want them to soften slightly and release all their aromas into this pot together with the little bit of onion and the garlic. This is the point where we are going to add some seasoning and we're going to add some cream. Okay, so the smell is amazing. So as you can see, they're just slightly browned. They're letting off their aromas absolutely beautifully. I've got a nice double thick cream here. And that I'm going to let reduce. So that is a good 300 milliliters of cream to the mushrooms. They're all covered, as you can see. Now I'm going to add my seasoning. Very straightforward, basic seasoning. I'm going to be adding white pepper because I want the sauce to stay quite a fairly light white color. So some white pepper and some beautiful salt. In this case I've got pink salt. Then what I like to use here, you can use fresh, but I like to use dried thyme in this particular recipe. Gives an absolutely amazing flavor, really pairs well with any chicken, but especially with mushrooms. Thyme and mushrooms just, it's like they're married in heaven. And then I like to add a little bit of paprika powder. And I'm going to give that another little stir. Now the idea is that I want this sauce to reduce. Now the last thing I'm going to add to flavor this beautiful mushroom sauce is a little bit of Dijon mustard. Just a heaped teaspoonful. So that's about a heaped teaspoonful. And another little stir. As you can see, the paprika powder is actually giving this sauce a beautiful pink type of a rosé color almost. So I'm going to turn it down slightly, but I do want it to boil, but I don't want it to boil over. But it needs to reduce so that the sauce thickens up. So stay with it. If you can see it's boiling and bubbling too much and it's going to boil over, that's what you don't want. So stay with it and just let it go for a little bit. There it goes. Now I'm not in any danger of this boiling over anymore. You'll see right in the beginning it comes right to the top. That's when you stir it and you calm it down, you tone it down, you turn the temperature down, and you will see. And now it's bubbling away, but it's not going to particularly boil over so much anymore. Do stay with it. Give it another stir. Okay, so the sauce is now done. It's been reducing for maybe 6 minutes or so. It's still busy going. It is a little bit on the runny side at the moment. I'm going to switch it off the heat. If I feel later on, because I will have to reheat this, if I feel later on that it's not quite thick enough, I can thicken it up with a little bit of cornstarch, but I don't think it'll be necessary. So that's absolutely beautiful. I'm just going to taste it for a little bit of seasoning. Seeing as I added just the Himalayan pink salt, which is not a very strong salt, I may need more salt. That's stunning. That's actually salty enough for me. So yeah, I'm happy. It's just got this beautiful, beautiful yellow, rosy, light brown, creamy color, creamy consistency, smells delicious, tastes gorgeous. So this is now ready to leave on the side. It was very quick to make it, and it is really delicious. It's stunning. You can put whatever mushroom you want in there. We're going to, in the end, finish it off with some freshly chopped parsley. Let's get on to our beef fillet next. Right, so now that our mushroom sauce is all beautifully done, and our potatoes have been blanched literally in about 4 or 5 minutes, not more than that. They are still firm, not completely cooked through, so they're holding their shape. I have my deep fryer on the go. It is, I'm going to turn it up in a minute to 190 degrees as if you were to be frying some chips. And right now I want to show you how to prepare our fillet steak. So firstly I'm going to show you what I've done yesterday. I have trimmed and cleaned. This is a beef fillet, by the way. I've trimmed all the sinew off and a little bit of the hard fat. The hard fat is actually not a problem because it only adds flavor when you are frying it. But I have wrapped it quite tightly in a sausage shape, and this is only because we are having a dinner party. If you're not, it really doesn't matter to do this, but because we're having a dinner party, we've got these beautiful discs of potato. We want to layer the steak in between it. This is now going to be beautiful, and when I grill this in its whole, it's going to hopefully retain this beautiful long shape. So it's been rolled very tightly. I'm going to now season it with some fine black pepper, some coarse black pepper, and a bit of salt, and then I'm going to be frying it, browning it on all sides in the frying pan. Okay, like I said, I'm seasoning it with some salt, some fine black pepper, and some coarse black pepper. And then I'm going to do the other side as well. Some more salt. some fine black pepper all around. Roll it, roll it, roll it, beautiful. It looks like a lot of pepper, but it's only on the outside, it's not on the inside. Roll it in there. And that is absolutely beautiful and perfect. Now I'm waiting for my butter with my olive oil to melt and to brown slightly, and then I'm going to brown it on all sides, and this is going to be absolutely stunning. Okay, so you can see it's literally just starting to brown here. So in goes the fillet in its hole, just like that. You hear that sizzle? That's what you want. Absolutely stunning. Now I'm going to leave it just for a minute or so, maybe a minute and a half. Then I'm going to turn it and turn it and turn it so it's brown all over. Right, now turn it now. Turn the whole thing over. It's not actually even had a minute, a little bit less. Okay, so I've turned off the heat. You can see it's got beautiful color all around. Okay, so you can put this in the oven if you like, but I prefer to do this on the stove. Now I'm working with gas, so I've literally, the first browning session on the one side of the fillet steak or the beef fillet took close to about a minute, and thereafter I've turned it for about 30 seconds on each side. Now if you're working with a domestic stove, it will most likely take you a bit longer, as long as you get it beautifully browned evenly on all sides. Now I've turned it right down. I've added another good big block of butter, and I'm going to put a lid on it, big lid. Just let it go. I'm going to check it every now and again to check the cooking process and see how far it's actually going. I want it a medium rare. So the next thing is, I have my potatoes here. My fryer is hot. I'm going to quickly fry these, pre-fry them, leave them to drain, and then fry them at the last minute again. Okay, so you can hear that the potatoes are now nicely frying. I've turned the steak twice already, and we're only like 4.5 minutes into this process now. I just want to say that I'm so grateful for those of you that have subscribed to this channel. I mean, like I said, we're all in a lockdown, and I'm so proud of my son for actually videoing this and editing and putting this all together. It's absolutely stunning, and equally as proud of my daughter, who's helping where she can. And yeah, I just want to give you lots of love from me to you guys that are watching. I really appreciate it. I mean, cooking is my passion. Absolutely love it. And if I can share some handy tips with you, and yeah, that just it makes me happy. So we're on to our vegetables next. Okay, so just to show you over here, I have pre-fried the potato crisps. They are still pale, but they're starting to form a little bit of golden brown edges. So just before we serve, back in the fryer, they're going to crisp up beautifully. Okay, so what you can see here is a large array of vegetables. By all means, use whichever vegetables you have available to you. I'm going to use a little bit of all of them. And I have grouped them just to make it easier for you to see in which order they should be cooked. Now this back row over here, I have some baby corn, I have some sliced red peppers. You could use yellow ones as well if you want. I've got some cucumber, and I've got some, these are called patty pans, but they are pretty much the same as a small little courgette or a baby marrow. These I am literally just going to quarter. Now these 4 vegetables do not need to cook ahead of time. And by that I mean I'm going to pre-cook these. I'm going to refresh them in ice water so that they retain their beautiful green color and their orange color. And once that's done, I am going to transfer all of these into a pan with a bit of olive oil, small block of butter, a tiny little bit of salt, and an even less little bit of sugar. And when we are ready to then serve, this literally does not take more than 1 minute to heat up. So these vegetables will heat up and cook in that 1 minute. So we don't need to do with anything with these last vegetables over here. Our carrots, however, do take a little bit of cooking time. So do our Brussels sprouts. So I'm going to start off with the carrots. I'm going to just cover the carrots in a tiny layer of water. As long as they're covered, I'm going to bring it up to the boil. At the moment these are boiling, I'm going to add our Brussels sprouts and our celery at the same time. This does take a little bit of time to cook. So our fillet steak has had a good 9 minutes now, 8-9 minutes. It's in the pan still. I'm going to let it rest, and it should be a beautiful medium rare. So I'm going to put the lid back on, and I'm going to just leave it just like that. Okay, so the carrots are nearly boiling. With gas, this goes very quickly. Now, Brussels sprouts, not everyone's favorite, but my kids happen to love these things. They absolutely adore them. And I think when you at home are trying to cook Brussels sprouts for young children, one tends to overcook them, and children just don't like anything vegetable wise that's overcooked. So what I suggest you do with your Brussels sprouts is you blanch them. You make sure that they're still crispy when you're doing them on their own as a vegetable. Make sure they're still crispy. Refresh them all under cold running water, and then all you do to make them really nice and palatable for little children, or young children rather, add some cinnamon, add a block of butter, and add just a touch of sugar and perhaps a bit of pink salt. And what you do thereafter, after you've obviously now drained them and let them cool down, put them back in that pot, add those ingredients, a bit of cinnamon, some sugar, some salt, and a block of butter, and when you're ready to serve, reheat, let that butter melt, and they are going to be so beautiful. They're going to be like tiny little baby cabbages that little kids actually can't resist. I used to absolutely not be able to eat these things because my mom was one of those moms that cooked them until they had this really awful cow dung green color. Now nobody wants to eat that. And yeah, I didn't like them until they were prepared correctly. And I love these things, and so do my kids. So that's just a little handy tip. My carrots are now boiling, and I'm going to add the Brussels sprouts, as well as the celery. This one is just a bit too big. Celery is also, once again, it's an absolutely amazing vegetable to just saute or blanch and then saute with a bit of butter and perhaps a bit of nutmeg and a bit of salt. It's a very different type of a vegetable that, it was very popular, but nowadays people don't use it unless they're using it in stocks and in soups and in sauces. Celery, or as a raw celery stick with a dip next to the chip. And, well, not everybody's on a diet, and celery, why do we have to eat that thing raw? And also, if the celery is not super fresh, you get these really stringy, horrible stalks. So try this at home. Try and steam your celery or boil it for a while until it feels nice and soft, and drain it and add a block of butter with a little bit of nutmeg and some salt, maybe some pepper. Absolutely beautiful dish. You can even add a dash of cream and make it into a creamed celery as a vegetable on its own. It's just stunning. So they are busy going. The next thing will be our sugar snap peas, or there we go. What I've done with all of them is I've just taken the strings out like that. They've all been done, so I'm just trying to show you that's what you do. Then this little unpalatable string comes out, and then I've got some fine French beans. You don't, I've topped them, but I haven't tailed them because these things are perfectly edible and they're actually very, very pretty and elegant on a plate. Yeah, beautiful. However, if you've got your thick French beans, then you will need to put those in the pot before these sugar snap peas. So the vegetables been going now for a little while, and they seem to be like almost just tender. I'm going to add our little fine green beans. Leave that to steam for another 30 seconds, but this is on gas, remember, so it'll be much quicker than on your normal domestic stove. Just make sure you look out and you test it regularly enough. Once the green beans are done, the rest of the vegetables will also be done. And as you can see, each vegetable's got a different amount of cooking time, also depending on how big they are. So the carrots were not in very big chunks, but they took about the same time, or just a little bit longer than our small little Brussels sprouts. But again, if you've got big Brussels sprouts, put those in first if you've got smaller type of chunks of carrot. So you just do those in order, and that's that. Now I'm going to just quickly test it. Okay, so just to show you, I can pierce my knife straight through. It's still beautifully green. The same I'm going to do with a carrot. Same thing, soft but still slightly crunchy. And the last thing is the broccolini, and I have asbestos fingers. Don't do this at home. Anyways, so that's all done. So I've got a rush now because I'm going to take it off the stove. I'm going to put it in a colander, run loads of cold water over it to refresh those beautiful green colors. Right, so I've refreshed them under cold running water. If you, let your sink fill up with a little bit of water with ice in it, you can just literally just put your vegetables straight in there after draining them, because you don't want the hot water to then melt the ice so quickly. But I've just run them under cold water because I'm only cooking for 3 people, so that works perfectly fine. And this is the result. So as you can see, beautiful. They've retained their beautiful green, fresh green color. They've retained a bit of crunch, a bit of crispiness. I can't wait to actually touch those Brussels sprouts. And now I'm adding our green patty pans. I wish I had yellow ones, I don't. Our cucumber, fantastic. This bit is a bit of the inside of the cucumber that I've got here. I'm going to just eat that. And then I've got some red peppers and some of these lovely baby corn. And what I'm going to do with this now, as I said earlier, I'm going to dot a little bit of butter in there. Yes, I cook with a lot of butter, but you know, you are dividing this butter. It's not that I'm eating that whole amount of butter all by myself. Small drizzle of olive oil. That's it. And like I said, the only things I'm going to add here is a little bit of sugar. It brings out that beautiful natural flavor of the vegetables. This is literally just a sprinkling. The same amount of sugar or even a little bit less to salt, and I'm not going to bother with any pepper. It does not need it. Now this is already the moment we're ready to serve, about a minute ahead of time. This is going to go on the stove, give it a few shakes around. The butter's going to melt, the olive oil's going to melt. It's all going to emulsify these beautiful flavors. And look at how gorgeous it looks. And any vegetable you have at home that you can do this with, as long as you have the cooking times correctly, fantastic. And you don't have to worry about this for the rest of the day. So you could, technically speaking, prepare this in the morning, cover it, stick it in the fridge, take it out an hour before your dinner party starts, so to let it come down to room temperature, and there you are. I don't suggest that you start that early in the morning because it's not that much work. It might look like a lot of work, it's not actually that much work. So, and if you do prepare your vegetables but don't cook them ahead of time, that's also fine. Then keep them in a container or separate containers in water And there you go. So this is stunning. It's ready to go. Our fillet steak is ready to be sliced. The only thing we now need to do is to crisp up our slightly pale potatoes. Mushroom sauce is done. It's thickened up even when it's been standing now. So we are ready to plate as soon as these are cooked and as soon as I've reheated this. Okay, so make sure you got a nice sharp knife. I've got this beautiful fillet steak here. What I've also got are some beautiful rosemary sprigs from the garden, and this is because we're going to assemble the fillet with the potato alternatively. So I only want the top of the rosemary, so I'm going to take all of that off and put it in there. I'll cut them according to the correct size. Don't waste this rosemary because this is what we're going to use for something else. That's why I'm putting it in this little bowl. Oh, the fragrance of this is amazing. Right, so there we go. This we don't need. These we will cut to the correct size, and right now we are going to assemble our dish. So over here we have our potato, sprinkle with a little bit of salt, perfect. And here we have our fillet. So I'm just going to cut bits around about 1 centimeter thick, a bit thicker than your potato there. I'm going to show you now what it looks like in the middle. Absolutely perfect. And what is going to happen after this, like I said, we're going to layer this. And our last little bit, and that last little bit is for me to nibble on, but have a look at how beautifully that is cooked. I mean, that is just stunning. So there we go, we have a plate. Now if you have a puree of some sort, which we don't have, you could put that at the bottom. We don't have that, so I'm going to literally just put one piece of fillet in the middle, a potato, another beautiful piece of fillet, another potato, and another beautiful piece of fillet, and our last little potato. Now quickly have a look. So that's way too long. Let's use a straighter one. So cut that at an angle and stick it all the way through, because you do not want this tower falling over. Right, something like that. So there's two ways of going about the vegetables. You can either plate them, scatter them around the plate, but you still need your mushroom sauce as well. You could put them in a separate little bowl on the side, which is also beautiful, or you can plate them to the one side, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to just make a medley of vegetables on this one side. Make sure to get a little bit of each color in. Now remember, you are having a dinner party for a lot of people, so you've got to ensure you've got a little bit of help here to do this swiftly and quickly and efficiently. And right, and then I just wanted to add a few of our Brussels sprouts. Absolutely stunning. Yes, I've washed my hands again, so we are perfectly fine. And I've not added anything to this. I've added just a little bit of parsley, but I've not added anything else to this sauce to thicken it up. Just let that ooze over the side a little bit there. Okay, there we go, and the last little scattering of fresh parsley. Absolutely stunning. And there you have it. Millefeuille of Beef Fillet, beautiful seasonal vegetables, and a wild mushroom cream sauce. Okay, so we are now ready to set the table. Because we are doing 7 courses, luckily we are only 3 people, but because we are doing 7 courses, this involves quite a little bit of planning. What we have on our menu obviously is a soup, we've got a starter, we've got main course, we've got a fish course, we've got desserts, cheese boards and a sorbet in between. So each course needs its own specific cutlery as well. So without further ado, I'm going to start setting the table and afterwards explain to you exactly what's what and what is to be used for. Okay, so the table is set. What we've done is we have 2 plate settings. This is for our main course. This is to hold our soup. If we are having a starter first, then obviously one would use this plate as a starter and get the starters ready. It also depends on how much help you have that can help you carry the things to the table. So I've stabilized the soup bowl with a little tissue paper or otherwise a serviette if you like. I have beautiful serviette rings, a serviette. I have a side plate for any bread rolls that we should be baking, which can potentially go in this bowl over here. I made some butter, I've got salt and pepper. Now because we are plate serving everything, we won't need salad dressing. We may want a pepper grinder for certain things. Then we have a white wine glass, a red wine glass and a water glass. Then over here we have a beautiful selection of a beautiful water with some citrus fruits and some mint, some plain water for those who like it, some stunning white wine, some red wine, and those are our selections for this evening. And of course a little bit of table decor. I've got beautiful flowers and of course we've polished our silverware. So on the side I still have extra little plates because we need to serve our sorbet. So you can, it's optional to serve it in a little bowl. You could serve it in a champagne glass or in a little bowl or even in a little teacup or a coffee cup, whatever you have that suits the rest of your table setting. And then I have a spare side plate of which we could do a smaller starter of some sorts. And I have more plates, luckily, so I will be using a main course plate also for our dessert. Once that's all done, we've cleared the entire table. What will happen is our cheese board. So that's when everything gets removed. Now if we have a fish course, we would have our fish cutlery, which I don't have at the moment, but you can just pretend that this is a fish fork and a fish knife and a main course and a main knife. And of course our soup spoon, our buttering knife. If we have an extra salad, you would have to add more cutlery here. And with the sorbet, I suggest just adding a teaspoon as you are serving it and not putting it on the table. That's pretty much it. Go wild, use what you have. Like I say, there's only 3 of us, so this was quite a quick table setting. Now what I'm going to do is get some nice music going. I'm going to get ready and I'm going to welcome my guests. See you in a bit. So I'm all dressed for dinner. I'm waiting for my 2 beautiful guests who are also dressed for dinner. I hope you've enjoyed how to set a table and how to cook all of this beautiful food, 7-course meal. My food is on the stove and in the oven. Desserts ready, cheese boards ready, sorbets ready to be dished. So I'm happy. So please subscribe and join me for our next video. Enjoy cooking with Fleur. Bye for now.